Meanwhile, over in the Gem State, hundreds of Idahoans gathered at the Capitol in Boise today for the Workers Over Billionaires protest. There, they demanded the government and Idaho's elected officials prioritize working families over wealthy donors. Aspen Shumpert from our Boise sister station brings us more tonight.
Monday, Idahoans fought for their voices to be heard.
I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, you have to open your eyes and see that things are happening that go against our Constitution. Our own Idaho congressional representatives are not listening to the people who have voted them into office.
Hundreds gathered at the Capitol steps on Labor Day, standing up for workers' rights, demanding that the federal government and Idaho's elected officials prioritize working families over wealthy donors.
65 years old, retired, never thought I'd be fighting for my country at this age.
It's time for moral courage in our country.
Attendees of the Workers Over Billionaires rally, organized by the group Idaho 5051, say they fear the direction of the federal government and rallied against what they call a billionaire oligarchy.
This is not okay. We don't want this here. What do we want here? We want our rights.
It's time for moral courage in our country.
Those in the crowd say they want equal opportunities and basic necessities like higher wages and affordable housing.
What has now been established as kind of the working minimum wage still cannot buy a $348,000 house. Just things need to change and get away from the billionaire oligarchy.
Protesters say they'll keep fighting until representatives listen.
It's going to just take more and more people speaking up to, we just got to become the fly that eventually they're just swatting at and they can't ignore.
This is what happens when you don't listen. This is what happens when people get upset.
And that was Aspen Shumpert reporting. Labor Day protests also popped up in other parts of the country today, including in Oregon and Massachusetts. Again, it's being called the Workers Over Billionaires protest. As frustration grows amongst working families, people are speaking out against recent federal cuts to essential programs and what they consider attacks on immigrants, laborers, and the outside influence of billionaires on the government and economy.
And so when there's attack on our communities, when they're cutting Medicare, when they're cutting Medicaid, where they're trying to cut public education, where they've cut funding for all these infrastructure projects, an attack on our communities is an attack on our workforce and the workforce that has built our cities.
Seattle also got in on the action today with hundreds marching along Broadway in the city's Capitol Hill neighborhood. Organizers there echoed a similar message, calling for the government to invest in communities, not wars.